The most intense, thrilling, electrifying sport on the planet. Mixed martial arts. You've been looking for the definitive podcast to call your new home to hear everything about it. The search is over. This is the MMAnomaly Show. No filter. Bringing you the hottest MMA breakdowns straight from the heart of the octagon. This show is all about MMA breakdowns. For fans, by fans. We're talking UFC, MMA, and the occasional big boxing match. We'll bring our unique take on how these fights are going to play out and who we think are the best bets. Welcome to the MMAnomaly Show. No filter. And now your hosts. This week, Jive Turkey Nano has flown the coop and is MIA. We have a special guest host, Mary. Now your hosts, Olin, a.k.a. MMAnomaly, and Mary, a.k.a. Miss Mary 616.
Woo! It has been so long since we've done an episode. We are obviously out of habit. Apologies for hitting the wrong intro. That's all me. That's all my bad. We don't have Miss Mary, unfortunately. So, yeah. Bit of a record scratch there, folks. We do, however, have Jive Turkey Nano. I forget the new subscriber's name, but a new subscriber definitely liked Miss Mary's smile, so he will be disappointed.
I apologize for the disappointment for sure, but good to see everyone. How we doing today, MMAnomaly? My man.
Doing great, man. Doing great. Happy to have the turkey himself back in the hot seat here, the passenger seat. Man, I'm really excited about the fights we have to go over here. UFC Vegas 97. And Nano, I don't know if you know this or not, but this is episode 131 of the MMAnomaly Show, No Filter. So, I mean, I'm excited for that.
Let's go, baby. Triple digits, 131. We'll have to do something big for 150, 200. We'll do some something historic, but I'd love to see it, man. Onward and upward,
Absolutely.
baby.
Maybe we'll have to do another confetti cannon in the room, and I'll be finding it a year and a half later. Literally found a pile of confetti today whenever I moved furniture, so that was fun. Now, with that being said, guys, gals, folks, fight fans of all ages, shapes, and sizes. We obviously missed an episode here. We did not have an episode to recap Jared Cannonier versus Caio Baralho. I'd be remiss if I did not at least shout out Caio Baralho crushing it in there. I thought there were times that the fight probably could have been stopped and should have been stopped. Also, as a Tabitha Ricci fan, I thought Angela Hill won that fight. Granted, Tabitha Ricci did get takedowns, did secure a little bit of control time. I can see how and why the judges scored it the way that they did. And then last but not least on my bucket list of things that I had to get off my chest about this last fight night here, Robert Valentin versus Ryan Loder. Ryan Loder has put in the work. He looked really stunning on The Ultimate Fighter, and he went out there and landed 63 strikes total over his opponent's 5 total strikes. Landed the 1 takedown. Also, 42 of those strikes were considered significant. Secures the win, and not only that, he secures the UFC contract. We are in talks with him, hoping we might possibly get a chance to have him on the show to do a little Q&A. So if you have any questions for the Ultimate Fighter season, was it 33 winner, Ryan Loder, please let us know. Nano, what were your thoughts, comments, questions, concerns about last week's card? Or rather,
Awesome.
week before.
Yeah, brother. I would say awesome breakdown. Definitely have similar thoughts to what you mentioned there. I think some close fights, some fun fights. Our boy Caio definitely stole the show, but some other people as well, right? Wang Kong leaned off the card. Someone that, in my opinion, stole the show just in terms of her performance, in terms of the pedigree coming into the fight. She's beaten Valentina Shevchenko in a kickboxing match. So that was exciting to see. GM3 as well on the prelims coming out here and actually leading off the main card. I apologize, not in the prelims. My apologies. Leading off the main card, but beating a young and hungry Edmund Shabazian, that was a big one. That was another big a takeaway from my end here, on top of what you already covered there. But man, it was a fun one. But hey, man, the grind never stops. This Saturday as well. More fights, more implications, more that we have to cover, man. So I'm excited to dive in with you, brother.
Shout out to Ian Juice Miller in the chat, folks. He is a professional fighter himself. He just recently got his first pro win, and I believe he may or may not have some fight news. Yes, indeed. Here we go. October 26th. Ian, where are you fighting? And who's the opponent? What can we talk about here, man? Or is it hush-hush at the moment? I don't want to get you in any trouble.
We'll make sure everyone signs the NDA. But no, congrats, man. That's awesome. Rooting for you. Everyone go follow him, give him a shout out, send some loves, send some positive vibes, send it all his way, man. Let's go.
And if you're in the Long Beach area, make sure you check out the fight on October 26th. Opponent's name is deceased. So that's that. Moving into this week's fight card, folks, we have Gilbert Burns versus Sean Brady as the main event, Jessica Andrade versus Natalia Silva as the co-main event, and the list goes on and on and on. There were obviously a handful of cancellations here, starting with Ryan Superman Spann versus Ovince St. Preux. However, I digress. It's okay, folks. It's okay. We're going to get through this. We also had Kyle Nelson supposed to fight Calvin Kattar. Got canceled. We also had Matthew Christopher Schnell, a.k.a. Danger, was supposed to fight Joshua Van. Would have been a banger of a fight. Got canceled. Then he was supposed to fight Alessandro Costa. Would have been a banger of a fight and a hell of a test for up-and-comer Alessandro Costa. But I digress. Canceled. But what is a Danger to do? What is a Louisiana Slugger to do but take another short notice fight against a fucking junkyard dog in Cody Durden, folks? So, I mean, this is going to be a hell of a fight card, and you know we got to start from the bottom before we work our way up to the top. So, Gigimanta Ramaska coming in against Nathan Fletcher. I'm going to keep it short and sweet. I know Gigimanta has a much cooler name. He also has more wins, more fights in general, and a 3-inch height advantage. However, the reach advantage is only 1 inch, and I really like Nathan Fletcher in this one. I think he's probably just going to be a step ahead of his opponent everywhere that this fight goes. Nano, walk me off the ledge. Correct me if I'm wrong here, brother. What do you got?
I love it, man. I love it. I am on the other side of the fence here, so I'll do my best to reel you back in. But I'm seeing a lot of great things here from Zigomantis Ramaska. Not just the name itself, but you also insinuated it a little bit there. He's 9-2 record coming in at 27 years young. 5 KOs, 4 submissions. That's a 100% finish rate. He's on a 3-fight win streak all within the last year. So the dude is definitely trending the right direction, in my opinion. And I do think he's a tough guy. He's well-rounded. You mentioned his opponent, Nathan Fletcher, being a little bit younger, maybe a little more springy, maybe the better athlete, all of which I can definitely agree with you with or on. But my one takeaway is that he may be a little bit more one-dimensional. At an 8-1 record, 1 KO, 6 subs, that is a 7 out of 8 finish rate, maybe 80%, 90%. But they're both making their UFC debut. So a little bit of an asterisk. Yes, these are great records. There's a lot that you can look forward to. These guys are looking at both make a name for themselves, which is maybe a reason why they're leading off the card here. But we just don't know, right? We don't know what the talent's going to look like. How is it going to translate into the octagon, onto the big stage? All to say, I'm going to lean the guy that has a little bit more experience, that has more of the intangibles when it comes to the height, the reach advantage. And then, again, he's on a 3-fight win streak. He's found 3 finishes in those last 3 fights. I think he's going to find a way to be able to do it again. I think both these guys will. Maybe you take the under if you're a savage and you want to bet on these undercard fights. But otherwise, I'm slightly leaning Zigomantis maybe to be contrarian here, but also I just think I like the skill set. I like what I saw off some of the quick highlights I was able to find on YouTube's. Those are my 2 cents, brother. I don't know if I talked you fully off, but one of us will be doing a shot next week regardless. I'm excited. Let's go.
It's a fact, sir. It is a fact. Strength of schedule is important in MMA, as Ian Juice Miller said here in the chat. Again, make sure you give that guy a follow. I believe is it at Juice MMA on all platforms? Let us know in the chat, brother. Yeah, I mean, you didn't fully talk me off the ledge here, but I will say that, you know, more of the people that voted on Tapology for the most part agree with you than me. 62% of them, to be specific, think that Ramaska gets it done. 38% of these folks think that Fletcher gets it done. And, you know, a fair amount of the people that do think that Fletcher gets it done think that he may get it done via submission. I'm on the same boat. I think he probably gets it done via submission if he gets it done. But from a betting perspective, I'm just gonna enjoy this one. I'm not gonna bet on this one. I'm not taking anything to the bank on this one, guys. I'm not a savage, as Nano said. Not gonna take the under on this. But you know, these guys are smaller guys. A lot of times the unders are the way to go here. But I mean, I just not enough data for me. Not enough data. Moving forward, we have Andre Petrosky coming in against Dylan Budka. Nano, who you got, and tell us why.
I love it, brother. I love it. This was a nail biter. This was a little bit of a closer matchup for me. More familiar with our boy Andre Petrosky, sitting at 33 years old, 11-3 record, 4 KOs, 4 subs, well-rounded, and he's been a winner for the most part in the UFC. 6-2 record since joining back in 2021. Started off with a 5-fight win streak, was starting to look like a world beater, but then came across some tough opponents. All of which to say, I don't know if Dylan Budka, the mindless Hulk, as he goes by here in terms of a nickname, the mindless Hulk, Dylan Budka, 24 years young, 7-3 record, 1 KO, 2 subs, 1-1 in the UFC since coming off his Dana White Contender Series debut. So I'm hoping his name isn't totally insinuating his fight style, you know, being mindless out there and being a Hulk, just raging out and maybe being a bit one-dimensional and not too much of an IQ out there when it comes to his fighting style. Maybe that's reading too much into it. Maybe I'm splitting hairs here, but I am going to do what I normally do not do, okay? If you are familiar with the channel, you know I like my young bucks, especially when there's a big age gap, but for whatever reason, I've seen Andre Petrosky go in there and beat high-level opponents. He's lost to some as well. So maybe Dylan Budka is that guy. Maybe he is him. But I'm going to lean AP Andre Petrosky on this by decision, but it's a nail biter. I'm curious to see what the odds are on this. But yeah, man, that's where my head's at, or I guess my gut or my heart in a way. What are your thoughts, brother?
So first and foremost, great fucking breakdown, brother. As always, give the man his round of applause, folks. Let's go. Love to see it. Love to see it. Now, with that being said, I am going to jump into some of the kind of random stats here. First thing, I have to give a shout out to nextmma.com. It is run by Mr. Nice Guy MMA. Great dude. Also, shout out Adrian Gonzalez in the chat. What up, brother? Happy to see you here. Happy to see you enjoying the show. So nextmma.com. This dude does really, really great job of not only making just a completely free site for us MMA cappers and MMA bettors and MMA enjoyers to use and utilize these stats. He compiles a lot of random stats here. And I actually had a nice phone conversation with him just a couple weeks back. And I recommended, if he had the data, to add a data point, and he did. And he did it rather quickly, folks. Now, the data point is finish rate, or loss finish rate, rather, because he already had winning finish rate added. So I was like, hey, if you have winning finish rate, just curious, would you be able to calculate losing finish rate? And what I mean by that is, what percentage of this fighter's losses have come by way of finish? Because that is very informative on whether or not you should probably bet the under, right? So Andre Petrosky, Let's talk about it, folks. This guy is an absolute monster, especially when it comes to grappling. Self-proclaimed best grappler of the middleweight division. It's debatable, but at the same time, he is a damn good wrestler. Now, when it comes to his losses, he only has 3 of them. All 3 of them are by way of finish. 100% loss finish rate. His opponent has a 66.7 loss finish rate. So, I mean, if you pull those together, you're getting roughly what? 80, 82%? Pretty high percentage that this fight gets finished inside the distance. However, you got to take into account things like Andre Petroski's win finish rate. Does he actually finish fights? Because if you think about Andre Petroski, what do you think about? I typically would say, well, he's a decision guy, right? He's a grindy, windy decision guy. Would you agree, Nano?
I would agree with that. I'd also add, close to 50-50. Like I did this hand gesture that kind of so. I don't necessarily think of him as someone that's beating everyone because he's kind of been up and down as of recent. So to add to that, maybe wishy-washy or unreliable in the sense of not always winning them all as of recent, I should say.
Fair response. So, I mean, to the people, myself included, who would assume that he is a grindy, windy grappler kind of guy, right? I would say this. In his last 10 fights in the UFC, he's 5-5 as far as his wins go. 5 by finish, 5 by decision. So he does have a 50% chance of actually finishing a fight. His opponent has a 60% chance, or rather 66% chance of getting finished in the fight. I don't think inside the distance is a crazy thing to take on this. And if you look at, let's see here, on the pick'ems in underdogs, let's see what they're giving us on this one. Because I feel like they're probably going to give us some juicy odds when it comes to by finish for these guys. Maybe I'm wrong, but I doubt it. Yeah. Andre Petroski finish, 1.48 times multiplier. Fantastic. Dylan Budka by finish, 2.7 times multiplier. So you throw either of those on a parlay with some flat lines that are very, very predictably going to hit, and you're making money, folks. And also, if you look at it on DraftKings Sportsbooks, if we're looking at, let's see here, fight props, fight to go the distance. Why is that one not on here? They have the Jiggy Manta fight. They have the next fight. Am I crazy? They don't have that fight for the fight props to fight to finish in the distance. I've obviously figured something out that Vegas is caught on to, folks. So
cheat code.
You heard it here first. And thanks to nextmma.com for actually helping me come up with these stats to figure that out. And again, a cool thing about that site is, like, if you look up the fights, he puts them into printable pages. So you can like print the pages and then make your notes on it. It's really, really handy. So yeah, if I'm picking someone to win this fight, I'm going to pick Andre Petroski. I think he probably goes out there and grapples. Again, like my kind of wild card pick would be to finish or to put it to finish within the distance. But if you want to know what I've already bet on, I'll tell you straight up, the one bet that I've already placed on Underdog does include Andre Petroski, and it's higher than 2 takedowns. I think he goes out there and he lands at least 2 takedowns. The guy is a takedown machine. He's a grinder of a wrestler. And I mean, unless he goes out there and just significantly tries to finish the fight on the feet with his hands, that's a weird statement. You get what I'm saying. Unless he just stands on the feet and tries to get the finish via knockout or TKO, I think he's destined to get those 2 takedowns. Yeah. Am I crazy here, Nano?
I don't think you're crazy. I mean, I do think Dylan Budka will try to pose as much of a threat as he can when it comes to the clinch, when it comes to the wrestling and the grappling. But I do think Andre Petroski's a little more savvy. I do think he'll find a way to get it done. I agree with that. I like it. Got my stamp of approval, my brother.
Let go. Moving into the next fight, we have Jacqueline Amarim coming in against Vanessa Little Monster Demopoulos, who we had the pleasure of meeting in Las Vegas. Fantastic energy. Seriously, like one of the best energies of anybody I've ever met in my entire life. What up, Tico Tech? How we doing, brother? Happy to see you in the chat, as always.
Yo, what up? TT.
Hey, Tico, we're moving again this month. You want to come help us like last time? It was probably super easy last time, right? You were actually super helpful, though. I actually felt bad. We put that guy to work, man. Put that guy to work. So both of these women are jiu-jitsu style fighters. Both fight in orthodox style stances. One fighting out of America, one fighting out of Brazil. This is another one that's pretty interesting in the fact that when you look at these women, right? Both Lil Monster and Jackie, neither of them have ever been finished. Pretty crazy to think about, right? So I think, and I mean, again, call me super duper crazy on this one, folks. One of the safest bets on the card is probably the over on this fight. No, what are your thoughts? Am I a wild man here? You think someone's live for a finish in this one?
Man, I mean, although our girl Jacqueline has been very consistent with her finish rate, right? Coming into this fight, she's 29 years old, 8-1 record, 2 KOs, 6 subs. She's typically been able to go out there and get it done. Maybe part of me wants to say because we met her in person, talking about Vanessa Demopoulos here, her opponent. Half of it's maybe because we met her, but also I do just see her as a savvy veteran, someone that's highly skilled. She's been active, especially since she started here in the UFC back in 2021, 5-2 record. So this is going to be a legit test. All to say, I can see it going to decision. I can see this maybe being Jacqueline's first time seeing the judges' scorecards because it is going to be a level up in competition for her. But let's say, I mean, is not out of the realm of possibilities that she goes out and hurts Vanessa early or takes her down or even gets taken down and finds a way to choke her out. Like, she has a lot of ways to finish the fight. And she's been able to, 8 times up, 8 times down. I mean, she's 2-1 in the UFC, so maybe that's another thing to keep in mind here, which further validates your point of, hey, more likely going to be a decision. Maybe grindy-windy, as we like to say. But I think it'll be close. I think it'll be competitive. I am leaning Jacqueline, don't get it twisted. But I do think she has enough skills. She's a little bit younger. And she can set more traps. I think that's going to leave Vanessa in more of like on her back foot, not on the offense, not in the quarterback, not in the driver's seat. She's going to be trying to keep up with the young bull. Who again, I like Jacqueline. I think she's someone that's going to be, we're going to be talking about her more and more as this year unfolds and as the next year comes out as well. Those are my 2 cents, brother. I kind of steamrolled through it, man. Curious to hear your thoughts. And if maybe we're in agreement, if we both are as high on Jacqueline, or if maybe you're seeing our girl Vanessa Little Monster, be able to find a path to victory. Let me hear it.
Well, again, as always, great breakdown, brother. But I will say, being a bit of a jive turkey right now, I'm not as high on Jackie. I think, look, I mean, what it all boils down to for me, and I know MMA math doesn't fucking work, right? It just doesn't. If you look at recency, and I think if you look at back to the beginning of the Contender Series when Corey McKenna won to get into the UFC by beating Vanessa Little Monster Demopoulos, and then you look at the most recent win of Vanessa's opponent, Jacqueline Amarim, it's over Corey McKenna. So MMA math would say, well, I mean, one lost to Corey McKenna, one beat Corey McKenna. So ipso facto, the one that beat Corey McKenna is probably going to beat the other chick that lost to her. Well, I'm here to tell you you're wrong. Simply because recency, right? We look at the last 2 years because, again, that fight was back in 2020. That's 4 years ago. It's a lifetime in fight time. So back when she lost, and it was a unanimous decision, lost to Corey McKenna. Great job to the Hobbit getting it done. That is not an insult. That was actually her nickname at the time of the win. And I personally like that nickname better than Poppins. So I'm going to keep calling her Hobbit. Anyways, I digress. Let's talk about what really matters more than the recent wins over Emily Ducote for Vanessa Demopoulos and Corey McKenna for Jacqueline Amarim. Let's talk about the losses. And they both came in 2023 via unanimous decision. The difference is one of them lost to Sam Hughes, aka Sam Page. The other one lost to Karolina Kowalkiewicz, who is a prolific striker, kickboxer, Muay Thai fighter, someone that has multiple fights against Joanna Jędrzejczyk. Those losses are not equal, right? So to me, if you have lost to Sam Hughes in the last year, in the last 12-month calendar year, what's Vanessa Demopoulos going to do to you? Because I think she's stronger and I think she's better than Sam Hughes. I like Sam Hughes, but I think Vanessa's better. So I think she's going to go out there and I think she's going to, at the risk of making it a possibly boring fight, she's going to grind her opponent down. She's going to whittle her down and she's going to sap her gas tank slowly but surely across the duration of the fight. And then in round 3, she's going to make Jacqueline Amarim look very, very human. The same way that I think Sam Hughes did. So, yeah, we could definitely put a little friendly wager on this one.
I like it. I like it. Let's make it happen. Noted. Put it in the books, baby.
Put it in the books. Moving into the next one, we got Gabriel Santos coming in against. Is this guy's name Yiza?
I saw
on Tapology. His name is just Yiza.
Yeah, Yiza or Zayi. You know, different cultures, different ways of enunciating.
Zayi, Yiza.
Zayi, Yiza. Like share, just one way to one enunciation.
I mean, these guys are very evenly matched. I'm gonna let you take the lead on this one, but straight the hell up, bro. This is like if Mike Goldberg was still a UFC commentator, as he was doing the announcement, he'd be like, "The rest is virtually identical." This is like a paper match.
I love it, man. Yeah, definitely a paper match, a rubber match here. Not an actual rubber match because this is their first time fighting each other. But I'll start with the betting favorite, Gabriel Santos, coming in 10-2 record, 27 years young, 70% finish rate, 3 KOs, 4 subs. But he is 0-2 in the UFC, so this is a must-win for our boy Gabriel. Tough losses, right? He fought a Leron Murphy. He fought a David Onama. And unfortunately lost in both of those outings. So what's going to happen here? His back's against the wall. He is the betting favorite. I think that Vegas is seeing him as the more active fighter and I guess maybe the more well-rounded fighter. But I'm actually leaning the underdog here. I know you were going the underdog last fight. I'm going to go ahead and go with Yiza. I like the name. I like the underdog. Like what he's bringing to the table. Love the toughness. Love what I've been seeing here. And again, he's coming into this fight 27 years old. He has a 25-4 record, y'all. That is extremely busy. 6 KOs, 13 subs. So out of 19 out of 25 fights have been by finish. Dude finds a way to get it done. He's 5-1, all in the UFC Contender Series or the road to UFC. So I guess maybe that's to be taken with a grain of salt, but I do still think that's a little bit of a notch above some of the other divisions, like an LFA or Tough Enough or anything else of any other local circuit. I just feel that this road to the UFC and going 5-1 in that circuit all within a year, going 3 fights in a year. Coming off a win in February, like I like the momentum that he's building to this point, and so I'm still leaning the underdog and go with my gut on this one. Maybe make some money. Maybe I'll sprinkle a little parlay on this, or just straight up. Maybe we'll get away from the parlays. We got to learn from our mistakes here. We got to keep on going, keep on growing, as we like to say. But those are my 2 cents, brother. I'm leaning the underdog and Zayi, however you want to say it. Although again, anything can happen in this fight game. What do you think, brother?
Well, the stars must have fucking aligned because we're on the same page, brother. Yeah, like I like Yi Zaza Yi. He's the man. And I don't know if you mentioned this or not. I know you mentioned that he does have a string of wins that he's strung together here on road to UFC. He's actually made it to the UFC before, so he got a couple wins or a handful of wins on road to UFC after getting a handful of wins on WLF and WKG. And I mean, very impressive wins, right? He was a prolific finisher outside of the UFC. Then he made it to road to UFC, got a rear naked choke in his first fight in the very first round in 2 minutes 14 seconds against Kazuki Sasu. And then he got a split decision win in his last fight on road to UFC to win a contract, a one-fight contract, obviously, against Koyomi Matsushima. And then after that, he made it to UFC Fight Night to fight Zhong Yong Lee. And, of course, that's the Korean Tiger. That fight night was not super long ago, folks. We're talking about a Derek Lewis versus Sergey Spivak back in 2023 in February. So, sorry, I had to think about that for a second. And, again, he lost that fight. What does he do? He goes and gets a fucking armbar in the very first round against his next opponent, which I'm definitely going to butcher the name of. But here we go. Wuziazabieki Jiahafu. Yeah, you fucking try it, okay, kids? So, either way, he made that fight last about as long as it took me to attempt to say that name poorly. 2 minutes and 28 seconds in, he got the armbar win. After that, he gets the decision win, unanimous, not split, none of that shit, over Sangwon Kim. And then he gets the win over Kaiwan Lee. Again, another armbar. The kid likes armbars. He also likes rear naked chokes, I've noticed. Chokes in general, he really likes. But again, rear naked chokes and armbars seem to be his bread and butter moves. As far as submissions go, 3 minutes and 3 seconds in against Kaiwan Lee. I don't think this is going to be much different. I think this is probably going to be, I don't want to say a safe bet, but it's probably as safe gets on this card for the most part. Yeah, give me Yiza here. David Onama got the one up on Gabriel Santos last time. Lucky Lerone Murphy. I can always call him Lucky Lerone Murphy. Lerone the Miracle Murphy. He's not the female fighter. Lucky Lauren Murphy. Very close. You got to admit, though. Come on. So, yeah, we're on the same boat here. I won't dwell on it. Moving into the next one, we have a fun little bout here between a Muay Thai fighter and a kickboxer. We're talking about Felipe Dos Santos versus Andre Lima. Oh, man, this is going to be a fun one from start to finish, from finish to start. You don't want to blink because one of these guys is probably going to get hurt. Now, the thing is, they both have over a 50% finish rate as far as their fights across totality of their professional careers. However, neither of them have ever been finished. So it's tough to bet on this one to go off or be a finish. But I'm curious. Nano, do you have a favorite in this one? Do you have a dog in this race? Or are you just going to enjoy this one?
Oh, man, this is a razor thin one. This is one that I'm probably going to try to stay away from because my heart is definitely torn. My gut is leaning the underdog again for whatever reason. This is without looking at the odds. So now that I'm seeing he's the underdog, it makes me want to lean my boy Felipe Dos Santos. Even though he lost in one of his fights against Manel Kopp, came back to win his last bout. He's just shown a lot of promise. He fights at a Chute box. Maybe it's just a little bit reminiscent of a Charles do Bronx Oliveira in his early stages of his career. But I'm just gonna be rooting for a guy like that. He's just a natural fighter. Can find different ways to get it done. Where his opponent, Andre Lima, really slick boxer, really good fighting skills as well. He's 9-0. Dude's been able to find a way to get it done. 5 KOs, 3-0 in the UFC since his Dana White Contender Series debut. And he likes to throw punches and bunches, and I do think that can maybe be his detriment or the beginning to his downfall is instead of throwing maybe your 3-punch combinations and getting out of there or moving angles or changing the looks or doing something, he's throwing 5, 7, 8, 10 punch combos, which is great, fun for the UFC fan, but he leaves himself exposed a little bit. I do think Felipe can find a way to disrupt the rhythm, as we like to say around here, to stop the music and cut through it all and hopefully find a path to victory. But I do think this will be a fun one. To your point, I guess as just someone that just wants to enjoy potentially 15 minutes of violence, I'll probably stay away from it betting wise, but I'm going to lean the underdog here. And if I were maybe doing any underdog parlay, Felipe Dos Santos is in the short list of underdogs I'd put on there. So take that with a grain of salt, or take that as you will. If you're going to do it, bet responsibly, you must say. Shout out DraftKings, shout out underdogs. But I'm going to throw it back to my boy, the MMAnomaly here. No filter, baby. Lay it on us straight. I guess maybe on ice, but we want it neat. Like I like my scotch, baby. Talk to me.
Absolutely, baby. Absolutely. Speaking of which, it might be almost time for one. Man, I like Felipe Dos Santos in this one too, and I'll tell you why. 2 words that capture my heart: Muay Thai, baby. You know I'm a big fan of it. You know he's a big fan of it. He likes to utilize it in his fights, and I think he's probably going to utilize it on Saturday night, folks. I think he's probably going to march right on forward. He's going to look to be the dominator in this fight, quite obviously, and I mean, if he's able to open up quickly against an Andre Lima, I do think he will be able to close that distance on him and really kind of make him feel the pressure. This is one of the closest fights from a betting perspective, or rather a tally perspective, across all of Tapology.com for this week's fight card, guys. So out of 1,204 votes, 53% of users think that Dos Santos is going to win. And 47% think that Lima is going to win. So again, I mean, I don't know, man. Maybe Vegas knows something that we don't know, but I'm with you. I think Felipe Dos Santos probably going to go out there and get it done. I think he's going to look to establish knees very early on. I like him, man. I like him in this one. I just think he's a game-bred son of a gun. Losing to Manel Kape is not a huge mark or a huge asterisk on your record, in my opinion. The dude's an absolute beast. And, I mean, Manel Kape was his first UFC fight. Like, that's fucking insane.
Yeah. And he looked competitive. So, I mean, that's saying a lot for sure.
It was a decision. He took Manel to decision. And like you said, like he made Starboy look very human, very mortal in that fight. So yeah, call me crazy. And also, if we're talking underdogs, Nano, and again, do bet responsibly here, but if you've got money to lose, might as well burn it. Yiza by finish, 2.93x multiplier on underdogs right now. I mean, I feel like, is that a bait line?
Could be a trap.
It feels, I don't know, dude.
Not too shabby though.
It feels like a trap that might work on your boy. Okay. I'm just saying, I've got that one tabbed up. Oh boy. You know what else is pretty tempting? Partnering that with Jacqueline Amarim over 14.499 minutes. So basically just to go the distance.
Right.
The fact that they have that.
Yeah. I mean, definitely juicy payouts because we're going so specific in terms of the, what's going to happen in the fight, I guess, to that point. But, hey, man, like you said, you got money to spend and you want to dabble a little bit, do it responsibly. Or if you like the idea of, hey, let me, bet small, but potentially have the big upside victory, you could potentially do it with something like that, most certainly.
Always bet with what you can afford to lose, folks. That's what we say here.
Got to. But I like it. I like where your head's at. That's something to consider.
Absolutely. So, yeah, man. I like it. I like that. I like that Yiza bet. I also like that Jacqueline Amarim one to go the distance. I do feel like it's going to be a distance fight. I don't see either of these ladies getting a finish on each other, just because they're not finishers, right? They are actually both very good at finishing fights, but both of these women are very, very game, very tough. Kind of like the guys that are going into this fight with Felipe Dos Santos and Andre Lima. So since we're aligned, I think we're both aligned on Felipe Dos Santos here. Yeah. might as well go and move into the next one. We got Isaac Dolgarian coming in against Brendan Marote. This one is it's another interesting one, right? I mean, for me, I'll be honest, I don't really have a ton of dogs in this race, or a ton of dogs in this race. I don't really have a ton of stake in this race, so to speak. But gun to my head, I'm obviously going to say Isaac Dolgarian's going to get the win, right? The Midwest Chopper. He didn't look the best in his last fight against C-Rod, but he was also fighting fucking C-Rod in his second UFC fight. Again, we got to address the elephant in the room here, right? Like, that would be like if, like, I don't know, Steph Curry was in his first year of playing in the NBA, and like he's staring across the court at fucking prime Michael Jordan. That's fucked up. That's not nice. Steph Curry's not going to get as good as Steph Curry got because he's going to be defeated and deflated on that day. So, I mean, that happened, right? Like Isaac Dolgarian went in there and that's what was supposed to happen. But instead, imagine that same situation, but young little baby Steph Curry is all of a sudden competing with prime Michael Jordan, and it's a competitive game, even though Michael Jordan beats him. Well, now all of a sudden, you're having a GOAT talk here, right? So, again, coming in against C-Rod in your second fight in the UFC and losing a split decision, people. Not a unan, a split is not the worst thing in the world here. Give me the Midwest Chopper. I think he's going to come out here, look fairly dominant, and call me fucking crazy. I think he goes out there and gets the finish over his opponent, Brandon Marote. Marote is not a scrub by any means. The kid comes to party. The kid comes to bang. That's his nickname, the kid. He's an absolute beast. He only has 2 losses to his name. He is 8-2. Those 2 losses have come by way of knockout by one and decision for the other. He got a win over he got beat by Terrence McKinney in his first UFC fight. We saw it. Terrence McKinney got that nice little ground and pound knee, or he hit the knee and then finished up with the ground and pound. Either way, though, Terrence McKinney is somebody that is very hit or miss himself, right? So if he's able to go out there and get the finishing touch on you in 20 seconds, maybe it was the bright lights getting to him in his first UFC fight. Maybe it was the fact that he took it on short notice. Number of different things could have played into it, but I think the kid is going to be put to rest. He's gonna be put to nap time by Midwest Chopper. Isaac Dolgarian. Give me the under in this one. Give me Isaac Dolgarian in this one. Give me all the fucking money in this one. No, what you got?
I like it, brother. I like it. I'll keep it short and sweet as well. Yeah, I think you covered all the bases here. And the reality is, I'm looking at 2 different sites. According to ESPN, he is a minus. He being Isaac Dolgarian, he is a minus 3,000 favorite. And then he got our boy Isaac Dolgarian in DraftKings, minus 2,400 favorite. So very, very heavy favorite. To your point, though, Brendan Marotte is definitely no scrub. He deserves to be here. He has a fortunate 0-1 record in the UFC. But, I mean, Isaac's been beaten in the UFC as well. He's 1-1, even though the odds certainly indicate that he is a world beater. But all to be said, I'm going to lean Isaac here. I'm not going to go with the crazy underdog and continue to ride that wave. I am going to hop off and just admit that I will agree with Vegas on this one. I do feel that Isaac, when you watch the tape, just a violent dude. Just somebody that whatever position he's in, he's throwing elbows. He's trying to hurt you. Yeah, I like what I've seen from him. So I'm going Isaac on this one.
Yeah, I mean, most of the time we like to take the dogs here. We like to take the underdogs. I mean, this guy's not necessarily an underdog. He's more of a lion. Sometimes we like those too. So we'll go ahead and stick with that guy. Moving into the next one here, folks. We got Chris Taco Padilla coming in against the Wrong Jew. His name is Wrong Jew. That's how you pronounce it. I know because I watched John Anik pronounce it like that and make I think 25 or maybe 30 Wrong Jew jokes, which was hilarious. Definitely hilarious. It's taking everything I have not to do the same thing, so I'm not going to. So yeah, the Wrong Jew is going to come in here. I don't know why I'm calling him the Wrong Jew. Rongju is coming in here against Chris Padilla. Taco. Look, I mean, both guys have the same exact last 5 trajectory. A loss on the back end on a 4-fight win streak right now. And the loss was back in 2022. Look, I like Taco, all right? And I like tacos even better. But I digress. I like Rongju in this fight. I definitely like Rongju in this fight. I think that he is the better man. I think he is a stronger man. And I think, by golly, he's probably going to be the faster man in this fight on Saturday night. I do think there's a slim chance that he gets it done via knockout or TKO. But I think the safer bet here would probably be money line if you're looking at a DraftKings sports books. Or just betting that he lands more strikes overall in the breakdown that you can get in underdogs if you click on the actual fighter, because I think he probably gets it done via decision, for being honest with you. So give me Rongju here. I think he gets it done via decision. I think he's going to grind this one out. Again, like, this fight should be close, but I don't think it's going to be all that close once we actually see it start to play out. The younger man actually has the better overall skill set and more overall fights. Strength of schedule is everything. Ian Juice Miller said it in the chat earlier, right? So, yeah, that's me. I'll get off my soapbox. Nano, who you got, man? You got Taco or you got Rongju?
I love it, brother. I love the breakdown. I'll be short and sweet here on my end, but I'm also going to go Rongju or Zhurong, however you pronounce it, Rongju. I like the sound of that. 24 years young. Man, 25-5 record. That's absolutely bonkers. More fights than he's been years on this planet. 15 KOs, 6 subs. That's 21 out of 25 victories. Have not needed the judges' scorecard. Dude absolutely gets it done. Rongju's 5-2 in his last 3 years of fighting. So he's very active as well. Is that good? Is that bad? At this point, still being 24, I don't think he gets hangovers yet. I don't think he has any of those repercussions that we start to feel as we get, on the other side of the prime. So I'm going to lean our boy Rongju on this. Although Chris Padilla, he's a dog. He's definitely somebody you might want to keep your eyes on. At 28 years old, 14-6 record, 7 KOs, 5 submissions. That's 12 out of his 14 wins currently. If you were to, extrapolate that out to the same amount of fights as his opponent, he would have a higher finishing rate. I mean, that's absolutely fantastic. Dude's gets it done. He's 1-0 in the UFC, but this is going to be a tough matchup for him. However, leaning the favorite, leaning Rongju. Zhurong, however you want to say it. I hope we're not wrong on this pick, but I do think he's going to be victorious come Saturday night. Let's go.
Let's go. Love it. I love when we agree, man. It doesn't happen super duper often, but man, when it does, it's pretty nice. It's very nice. So we were both on Rongju. Moving into the next one, we got Trevor Peake coming in against Yanal Ashmus. No, I got to be honest with you. The hardest I've laughed while watching a podcast was while I was watching the Anik Florian podcast today. And they said Trevor Peake looks like if Mountain Dew was a person. And like,
oh, no way. Yeah, he does.
Trevor Peake is actually like if Mountain Dew was a person, it would be Trevor Peake. So, I mean, you love stunning accuracy, right?
Dear gosh, that's hilarious.
Yeah, it's pretty fantastic. It's pretty fantastic. So yeah. They said that, and that's a thing that exists. And it's the worst thing about it is how true it actually is. The accuracy is stunning. And then John Anik suggested that he change his nickname to Trevor Mountain Dew Peak. Not against it. Honestly, not against it. So with that being said, it is about that time. We are going to go ahead and do a shot for these guys because I think this is probably going to be the most violent fight of the night. Someone is going to get eliminated, and neither of these guys have ever been finished before. So cheers to that. Nano, cheers to you. If you don't drink, don't drink. If you do, do. And either way, we hope you have a great time watching.
Thank y'all. Cheers. When we say drink, we are drinking adult beverages, but hey, stay hydrated in any capacity. Doesn't have to be what we're doing.
Absolutely. We also drink water.
Exactly.
And soda pop and, all that good stuff. So.
Kombucha, whatever you want.
Trevor Peak. He is someone who has not peaked quite yet in MMA, but I'll tell you this. Even though he's had an up and down career, he is someone that I will probably always bet on. And he's someone that will always have a very high percentage chance of knocking someone the fuck out. So I'm going Trevor Peak by knockout here. He has an 88.9% finish rate in his fight totality. And fun fact, folks, Yanal Ashmoose has an 85.7% finish rate. So quick rudimentary math here in my head. Like what, 86.7% chance that this fight ends in finish. Call me crazy, maybe take the fucking under here, kids. Now you do have to weigh in the fact that neither of these guys have ever been finished in their pro careers, so that is a bit of a toughie, right? So that's the thing, right? Do we wager that even though neither of these guys have been finished, because they have the ability to finish pretty much anyone that's in front of them, they will keep that trend up and finish each other? Yeah, I say we fucking do that. So I'm going to say you probably hammer the underline on this one if you don't feel super confident betting Trevor Peak outright. So fun fact, Trevor Peak is currently sitting at minus 125, Nano. Did you know the under 2.5 is sitting at plus 120. Throw that bad boy on there.
Okay.
And then just anticipate that one of these guys is probably going to get finished. And that's going to just increase your odds of winning money. You could even hedge both of them if you think that Trevor Peak is going to get it done outright. Just across the distance. Put a smaller wager on the minus 125 and then do your over plus 120 and just keep those off your fucking parlays. Either way, I've got Trevor Peak here. I think that he is a problem. He is typically an orthodox style fighter, but I've noticed that when he fights switch stance more often than not, right? Like he'll fight orthodox and then he'll switch, throw a couple shots, switch, throw a couple shots, throw a kick, switch. And he's also really good at finishing with kicks. Now, the thing that I am looking forward to most is the fact that he actually left his gym and went to another one. So he's been training with Dwayne Bang Ludwig. I've actually had the pleasure of meeting and training with Dwayne Ludwig. I was actually on his website for like 2 years. Little picture of me at the seminar. It was dope as hell. Great coach. I wouldn't even call him a coach. I'd call him a fucking sensei. And it would make sense because he calls all the people that he's training ninjas. Look, I think it's a great change of gym for him. I think that this being his new sensei, he's really going to turn into one hell of a hero and a half shell. I'm talking about Ninja Turtles here, folks. This motherfucker is going to be the Raphael alpha male. I think Trevor Peak goes out here and gets it done via dominance. And I could see him landing a nasty little left hook walking in and getting the knockout against Yanel Ashmoose. No. Who you got? Are we hive minding here or what?
Nah, brother. We are on opposite ends of the spectrum here, unfortunately. I'm going my boy Yanal Ashmoose. Dude's just a beast. When I look at him, he's everything that I think of when I think of just a tough, hard-nosed, meat and potatoes fighter, man. He goes out there, gets it done. They're both 29 years old, both similar records, right? 9-2 for Trevor Peak, 7-1 for my boy Yanal. 8 KOs for Trevor Peak, 4 KOs, 2 subs for my boy Yanal. So a little bit more well-rounded. He is the betting underdog here at plus 105 according to ESPN. I like that underdog. I like what I've seen from him. He's very tough. and I'm just gonna lean on that. He has heavy hands, and you mentioned the under or seeking a finish. This might be the chance to do it, right? Styles make fights. Both these guys have a lot at stake. They're gonna want to try to win 50K. I just like what I've seen from Yanal. Both these guys are coming off a loss, so they're gonna be hungry. But the last victory that my boy Yanal had, the Red Fox, was a KO victory over Sam Patterson. So I think that's what's gonna happen, man. I reckon it's gonna happen again. That's my pick. We're on other sides of the spectrum. I do agree that someone might get finished for the first time in the UFC. Not that likely, but
I mean, at least we agree on that. At least we agree on that, man. That's something. It's a start. So we'll take the under. We'll just agree to take the under on that one. Fight does not go the distance. So moving into the next one, we're moving right along here, folks. We only got 4 fights left. Now, that last one I think is probably going to be fight of the night. But this next one, probably going to be fight of the night in my heart. Because I'm a big Matt Danger Schnell fan. Always have been. Always will be. I remember watching him on MTV show Caged. And here's the thing. He's had his ups and downs. He's definitely had his ups and downs. Has Matt Danger Schnell. But I digress. If you look at where it's all gone wrong for Matt Schnell, it's, in my opinion, it's when he goes up in weight class, right? Because I feel like he loses a lot more often at 135 than he does at 125. However, there are anomalies, like your Brandon Royval, but that's Brandon Royval. We're talking about Raw Dog here. And Mateos Nicolau, who is a fucking phenom. But aside from that, I feel like when he stays at flyweight, he typically does better. For a while, he was bouncing up and down between bantamweight and flyweight. I feel like he had success and then decided he would just bounce up and down. Now it seems like he's trying to really find a home at flyweight. And here we are. The fight was changed 3 times in the last month and a half. And now what's happening, Nano? He's fighting at fucking bantamweight again. I hate that. I fucking hate that. It's probably why the odds have went up significantly against him. He's a plus 240 right now. Cody Durden is a pretty large bantamweight. I mean, they both typically fight at 125. They're just fighting each other at a bantamweight fight. So I guess it's not the worst thing that could happen. And Matt is a bigger man than him. So I just worry that, I don't know. Maybe he's going to be going in there against a heavier guy in Cody Durden. And I worry about the grappling too, because I think beforehand, it was more of a submission threat than a grappling threat overall, whereas Cody Durden is a very good wrestler. And that is going to limit Schnell's boxing, which is one of his strong suits, in my opinion. But I'm a crazy man. Sign me up and take me to the loony bin. I'm betting on Matt Schnell every fucking day of the week. So take me to the danger zone. Because I'm always going to bet on danger, baby. Nano, who you got? And tell me why it's probably Cody Durden.
Well, I mean, I'm definitely rooting for our boy Matt Schnell, right? I mean, I think it's one of those things. I'm taking my betting mind out of it. I'm taking logic out of it and just going straight with what's inside right here in the chest, okay? Not necessarily what's in between the ears, but what's in between the nipples, okay? Actually, I don't know if your heart's necessarily in between the nips, but I'll take it. So, your sternum, your nucleus. I digress. Enough Nacho Libre references for now. Though we do got more coming, potentially. No, but I do like Matt Schnell. I mean, honestly, he is a heavy underdog at plus 240 odds. Cody Durden is expected to go in here and take care of business. But I think it's because we've just seen both these guys be up and down. I mean, both fighters have lost both of their last 2 outings. So they are each of them 2 losses back to back. They both need a win more than anything right now. That's something I do know. And I guess stylistically, maybe Cody has a little bit of an advantage. Maybe when it gets to the ground or when it comes to some of the grappling. And, even just some of the toughness. I mean, we've seen Matt Schnell in not so favorable positions. I mean, obviously we saw what Steve Erceg did, even Mateus Nicolau, I think just coming off back-to-back losses like that. I'm hoping he's not rushing back in too quick. Getting knocked out back in March, but hey man, he's 34 years old, him being Matt Schnell. So I'm certainly rooting for him. But yeah, I mean, would I be surprised if Cody Durden takes care of our boy Matt Schnell? Unfortunately, I would not be. So don't listen to us. But I'm going Matt Schnell. Let's go, baby.
Let's go. Let's go. Love to see it.
Baby. Got to ride with my boy. Can't leave you hanging out there. Can't be on total opposites the whole time, right? The same first take. I'm riding with you on this one, man. Screw it.
We out here, bro. Let's go. Matt Schnell. Got an autographed Matt Schnell card right there. The thumb actually lined up perfect with that. I didn't practice that at all.
Nice. It's perfect.
Sometimes things just work out, huh? Think. Do we have a sound effect for that? Nope, wrong one. Dang. There it is. The eyebrows. Yeah, I got Matt Schnell on this, even against my possible better judgment. I think he gets it done, folks. I think he gets it done. Moving into Kyle Nelson, Killer Kyle versus Steve, the Mean Machine Garcia. It's the monster, Kyle Nelson, actually, versus Mean Machine. I mean, look, we know two things go together like mac and cheese, and that's Monster and Kyle. So look, Kyle the Monster Nelson coming in here against the Mean Machine. Look, I like Kyle Nelson. I'm actually a fan of his. But this just ain't a good matchup for him. There's a reason he's a slight underdog in this one. He's currently sitting at plus 154. Steve Garcia at minus 185. I almost want to say is a fucking steal. Okay, because the dude is a future just world breaker. Anybody who's watched him fight is a fan of him fighting, I think, because of the way that he goes out there and does his thing, right? He has an 81.3% finish rate, and 40% of the time he loses, those have been finishes too. So he wins or dies on his shield, right? I should say win or loses on his shield. And Kyle Nelson, not much different, right? 62% finish rate on his side and 60% loss by finish rate. He's been finished before. Can be finished. And what we've seen in Southpaw striker, Mean Machine Steve Garcia, is that if anybody's willing to stand up and trade with him, he is going to make them pay for it. And he's going to make them fucking regret it. I think it's going to be no different on Saturday night. I think the Mean Machine is going to go out there and grind up the monster. I think he's going to eat up the legs with the kicks early on. Probably lead leg kicks are going to dominate, slow down Kyle. And Kyle's going to look for takedowns. Let's make no mistake about it. That's his path to victory here, folks. The question is, can he actually get the takedowns? I simply don't think he can. We've seen good grappling negation or takedown negation from the Mean Machine, Steve Garcia. I think we'll see more of the same. I think the man from USA gets it done over the man from Canada. And with that being said, Nano, who you got?
Man, great breakdown, my brother. I'm super excited for this fight. My first note that I had written down is that this is a contender fight. This is a contender eliminator, right? And what I mean by that is we always talk about every Tuesday we come in here in this same area on this channel at the same exact time. It's not deja vu. It's every Tuesday. Okay, we come in here and we talk about the aftermath of these fights and who should be matched up with who, because they both are taking a step towards the title. They're both contenders, making a name for themselves, trending the right direction. This is a perfect example of that, ladies and gentlemen. Sitting in the 3 spot on this fight card, Steve Garcia, aka the Mean Machine. 16-5 record, 30 years old. 32 years old. almost virtually identical to his opponent, right? Kyle Nelson, 33 years old, 16-4 record. Steve Garcia, though, 13 KOs, and that's astounding. That is amazing, astonishing. Anything else I could think of, any other adjective with an A to describe Steve Garcia is just awesome, right? Everything's great about it. It's badass. There's an A in there somewhere. But Kyle Nelson, man, for as heavy-handed as he is, 6 KOs, 4 subs. Kyle Nelson is on a 3-fight win streak. I don't know if you count a draw being 4 or not. Let's just say 3-fight win streak. But Mean Machine's 5-2 in the UFC and also on a 4-fight win streak. So just feels like anything Kyle could do, Steve, the Mean Machine, might be able to do a little bit better. He's 6 feet tall. He's going to have those intangibles as well. I guess he's only an inch taller than our boy Kyle Nelson, which both these guys are huge for featherweights. But our boy Steve Garcia is going to have 4 inches of reach advantage. That's about a fifth's length. That's enough to make it a difference when it comes to that distance and that range. So I'm super excited for this. I mean, Kyle Nelson is a freaking Canadian monster, like a Sasquatch, just a hidden creature when it comes to the power he has and the bald look with the big beard and the furry chest. Definitely Sasquatch-esque. But no, man, I think Steve Mean Machine Garcia is going to find a way to get it done in an exciting way. Neither of these guys have a boring fight, so make sure you're tuned in. Don't look away. Don't go to the bathroom. Don't grab a drink. Don't look at your kids, even if they're crying. No, I'm just kidding. I'm getting irresponsible now. Please watch them. But make sure they're in front of you. Make sure they're watching as well. They're going to need eyeballs on this. It's going to be a good one. So let's go, Steve Garcia. Come on, baby.
Garcia! Love it, man. I'm a big fan of Garcia. I think he gets it done. And I mean, you're right, though, dude. Kyle Nelson does have a look, right? The bald head, the fucking beard, the powerful hands, the long lankiness. Like, he's like a Canadian Kratos. He'd be like Kratos, and his last name would have to start with an A. That way, every time you announce him, you're like, oh, this is Kratos, eh?
Kratos, eh?
Nobody? Nothing? All right. It's Kratos, eh? No? Nothing? All right.
Tough crowd.
Tough crowd on a Thursday night. Yeah. That's the fight, Garcia. The next fight is the co-main event of the evening, folks. That's right. We have made it all the way up this card to the co-main event of the evening. With that being said,
It's time
for us to talk about Jessica Andrade coming in against Natalia Silva. I mean, this is a spicy fight. It is a very spicy fight. I'm very excited about this fight. I'm very excited to see what Nano has to say about this fight more than anything. Yeah, Nano, what do you got, man? Tell me what your thoughts on this fight are, brother.
Love it, brother. I appreciate it, man. This is a big one. This is our girl, Jessica Andrade, coming in here and fighting a absolute stud, Natalia Silva. Both of these Brazilian queens are going to go in there and leave it all out on the line. But this is a big one. A lot of implications.
Adrian is saying, let's cheers again. Good old A-Train. Pour it up, brother.
Yeah, you know the vibes.
Pour
it up right now, baby.
Up, brother.
But, man, I am absolutely stoked for this fight. We met our girl, Jessica Andrade. And so I'm going to lean her until I see somebody knock her off her pedestal. Granted, she has been on a 3-fight losing streak. She has lost to Valentina Shevchenko. It has happened before. But again, y'all, we're not here to... I'm not Vegas, all right? If you want the Vegas odds, go ahead and look at the stat book, okay? And they're going to tell you a different story. But I'm telling you, I'm looking with my heart. I'm betting with my eyes, with my brain, and with my heart mostly, with my gut a little bit as well. Granted, there is some shots that are intoxicating this brain. I digress. I love me some Jessica Andrade, man. She's just so strong. She's seen everything. And I think that's kind of the key factor in this fight, because I do love everything on paper with the Natalia Silva. And if you're Vegas, how do you not, right? She's undefeated. She has not lost a fight since 2017. I mean, come on. Like, she's got all the makings. She's done everything that you need to see to say, hey, she's ready for a contender. And she's got one now, right? So I don't think it's going to be a walk in the park. I expect it to go probably the full 15. Anyone can get hurt. Anyone can get submitted. These things can happen. Man, I'm just looking at Natalia Silva's picture. She's extremely, extremely strong, and she's going to have the 3-inch reach advantage. I usually like watching the weigh-ins, and I like watching the face-off, things like that. But, hey, we met our girl Jessica Andrade, and I've always been a big fan of her through thick and thin. I'm riding with her now. I think she's going to find a way to get it done to retain that top contender status and hopefully get another chance at the title. I know, man. And I think I'll say respectfully for Natalia Silva, it's not your thing. Not yet. It's not your thing.
Your thing.
Not your thing.
You heard it here first. Nano says it's not her thing. A-Train in the chat says cheers. So
salud. Let's go.
Let's go, and then I'll give you mine.
To the crew, to the boys.
To the crew, to the people.
Let's go. To some good fights. Gee wee wees.
We are nothing if not men of the people. So,
damn straight.
With that being said, you might as well be the title of a Godsmack song, buddy, because you stand alone. I'm not going with Jessica Andrade. I'm going with Natalia Silva. I am one of those guys that when I meet somebody, my heart pumps internally for those people. And I will always ride with those people. I will always bet those people. But here's the thing. I got to take my heart out of this one. I got to put my head into it. And I got to look at the facts here. And the facts are, the Taekwondo superstar fighting out of Brazil, Natalia Silva, she is an absolute fucking monster of a woman, man. She was a belt holder at Jungle FC, left Jungle FC, relinquished the belt to come into UFC. Since then, has wins over, some of the most notable names in the entirety of the UFC, in my opinion. You know I'm talking about a Jasmine.
Yes, it.
Let me say it again for those of you in the back. A Jasmine.
Yes, it.
That's right. And that's our girl. We love us some Jasmine.
Yes, it.
On this podcast. So she has a win over her. She also has a win over Teresa Bleda. Also has a win over Victoria Leonardo. Also has a win over Andrea KGB Lee, who I actually worked at my first restaurant job with back in Bossier City, Louisiana. Shout out. Woo, I'm about to make a name for myself out here. Now listen here, folks. Natalia Silva is just an absolute beast. And after beating Andrea KGB Lee, she went out there and won up that and beat Viviane Araújo, got the unanimous decision, and made it look pretty nice. I simply think that after losing to Erin Blanchfield, Yan Xiaonan, and Tatiana Suarez, again, those are not huge blemishes, right? And even before them, like her only other loss before them was really Valentina Shevchenko, if we're looking at it. It's tough to bet against Abate Estaca, Jessica Andrade, but I have to do it. Okay, she's 26-12 at this rate. If she continues fighting in the UFC top 5 caliber, she possibly will continue losing like this, and that will make her more of a 500 fighter than she really should be, because she is an absolute fucking legend to this sport. Also, one thing that I don't think you noted, Nano, please cut me off, kick me off the soapbox if I missed it and you did. One of these ladies is Orthodox, the other Southpaw. I think that is actually going to pay dividends for the Southpaw. Southpaw being the faster, stronger striker already, the Taekwondo standout, Natalia Silva. She's actually a really prolific switch stance striker, but her work in Southpaw is really nice. The leading with the right. She's very, very quick. And the thing most noteworthy about her striking arsenal is the twitch movements in her legs. The way that she's able to get those legs on and off the line, it's very fucking Taekwondo, right? But the thing is, like, when you're watching those twitching leg movements, you're waiting for a kick and she'll catch you with a punch, or you're waiting for a quick body kick and she'll slip it to the leg, or she'll do a slicing side kick. So, she's basically like a fucking transformer, man. There's just more that meets the eye with this chick. I'm going to Natalia Silva here. I'm gonna jump off my soapbox and quit fangirling out over here on my end. I'm not gonna do anything crazy like inside the distance, but I'm definitely gonna put her on a money line bet. We've learned our lessons with parlays. That's a lie. We haven't actually learned our lessons with parlays. I'm gonna put a parlay in at some point this week, but we're doing singles because that's how we fucking win money. Parlays are how we, buy houses in the future. So moving forward. It's time to talk about the real main event of the evening here, folks.
It's time!
Thanks again, Bruce. We're talking about Gilbert Burns versus Sean Brady, folks. The main event of the mother flubbing evening. No. This is going to be a fucking killer fight. I mean, look, I'm going to let you take the lead on this one. It is the main event. We've been away for a while. As I think it was Ashanti said, been a long time. Should have left you without some dope fights. Step two. You know the rest. Who you got in this one, brother?
Did you say Ashanti or Aaliyah? I think one of those. I think it was Aaliyah.
I think it was Aaliyah. I said Ashanti. I'm happy you corrected me. I'm always happy to have somebody call me out whenever I'm on my bullshit.
Hey, man, just like Aaliyah said, because if you first you don't succeed, dust yourself up and try it again.
You can dust yourself up and try again. Try again.
Try it again. Been a long time. Here we go, baby. It's been a long time since our boy Gilbert Burns has been in the main card, and since he's won the main card, unfortunately, is it his time? Man, another guy that we've met, another guy that I will always root for, but I think the sun is set on our boy Gilbert Burns. I think it's Tornino's time, but it's not championship time. I think it might be retirement time. Okay, he's 38 years old, 22-7 record, 6 KOs, 9 subs. Thank you very much. Right on cue, my brother. And producer of the No Filter Show here, MMAnomaly. Thank y'all for sticking around. But you're going to hear it, man. This is tough for me to say, okay? I might shed a tear. I definitely am violently inside. My violent side is crying because Gilbert is a legend. Hall of Famer, one of my personal favorites. He's on a 2-fight losing streak. Now, need I remind you, one of them is the champ, Bilal. Remember the name Muhammad, okay? And the other one is a top contender right now, Jackie 3 names, Jack Della Maddalena, okay? So let's not hold that against our boy Gilbert. He beats most people, most days, most times. But our boy Sean Brady is not most people. And it's not going to be most nights. And it's not just any other time. It is big stakes, big stage, main event, Saturday night, Vegas. And our boy Sean Brady, man, he's angry, my brother. He's an angry, beefy, buff, tatted up son of a gun, okay? 31 years old, 16-1 record. Just look at him. Just pull up a picture of Sean Brady. He's not the guy you want to mess with, okay? Looks like the guy you might have accidentally hit on his girlfriend at the bar. And then he comes walking up and you think, I fucked up.
Sir, I'd like to apologize for making a vast mistake tonight.
I was just telling her how lucky you are. Because, my goodness, you are just so handsome. Just totally shift gears. But yeah, man, no, he's an absolute beast. I just think stylistically, and I'd love to hear your breakdown here as well, but I just think Sean Brady's going to cause a lot of problems. I think he's going to be just as strong as Gilbert is. I think he will not fall into the traps that Gilbert's going to try to get him to fall into. And he's going to be smart. He's not going to try to outmuscle him. He's not going to try to out-tough him in there. I think he's going to wait for his moments. He's going to try to just win the point game, right? Even if it's a more boring fight. He knows that Gilbert's not a guy you go in there and try to play hero ball. Not somebody you try to go out and try new things or just simply divert from the game plan. You got to stay locked in for the full 15. Actually, full 25. Has my boy Sean Brady gone 25? I don't even know. I'm going to quickly look here. I guess the last time he went seen a 4th round was in 2019. Now that I'm quickly looking at Dog. So that is a little bit of a concern, I suppose. Just not knowing what that feels like. Where Gilbert might have that advantage, but is he still going to be there? How much gas tanks Gilbert going to have? Again, got away from things stylistically. I just do think that Sean Brady's grappling game is pretty next level. And I think his striking is getting better and better, similar to how we saw Gilbert's game kind of come together at that same stage in his career. But Gilbert's not there anymore, right? The sun is set. He's 38. Injuries come up. I mean, the chin doesn't hold up. The muscle mass. I mean, things change. And so I just feel like Sean Brady's just trending in the right direction. I think he's going to use his skill set and his takedowns and his grappling and his ability to control things and that black belt jiu-jitsu to really Although, honestly, that might be really fun. I think that'll be something y'all should take note of, right? I hope we don't see the referee standing them up if they are in exchanges on the ground, because we're going to see some high-level fighting, high-level jiu-jitsu, high-level striking. And these are two bad motherfuckers. Let's call it what it is, y'all. These are two of the best to do it right now. Gilbert's a legend. And I hate talking about it so past tense, like he's already, like he's a ghost. It's like, no, he is still a live, wiry bet, even, at plus 155. That's plus 155, okay? That's not plus 2,000 like we saw earlier. That's not plus 200. That's almost a pick 'em. So I think Vegas sees this much closer than I'm thinking of it. I think I kind of use this as my eulogy for my boy Gilbert, but no, I do think it's gonna be a fun 25 minutes if it ends up going that way, and I do hope that's what we get. 25 minutes, best man wins, and I think Sean Brady will edge it out in the end. What are your thoughts, brother? Talk to me here. The music's making me sad. Hope you didn't cry, but are we on the same page, or do you think Gilbert's got a little bit more dog, a little bit more bite in the backyard, baby? What you think? Talk to me now.
The dogs bark in the backyard, baby. You already know that. Now, look, I mean, do I think Gil still has that dog in him? Absolutely, kid. I mean, he's that dog. He is that dog. Right? But I digress. So is Sean Brady. Sean Brady got that dog in him too, man. And that's what's scary about this fight. I mean, looking at the stats, looking at the facts, both men are dogs. Both men are absolute animals when it comes to the fight game. And again, another very close one when it comes to the Tapology community picks. 2,575 votes in, 55% leaning Brady, 45% Burns. Not that much of a difference. Oh, by the way, everyone for the most part, 77.7% of the people that voted Brady think he gets it done by decision. Meanwhile, almost half the people that voted for Burns thinks he gets it done by KO. Why is that? Well, because Burns has KO'd people before. He has very strong hands, and we've seen it. He damn near KO'd fucking Khamzat Chimaev. We saw that too. And we also saw that when Khamzat was tired, our guy was not. Our guy was wired. So when it comes to how this fight plays out, I think we really, really have to look at almost more than we look at the skills and overall skill deficit between the two. We look at the gas tanks and the gas tank deficit between the two. Sean Brady's really, really good forward-facing wrestler. When he's initiating the takedowns, when he's initiating the grappling, he's a very solid dance partner to himself, right? He's leading the dance. He's initiating the dance moves. So, of course, he's winning. He's on Dancing with the Stars, and he's the pro. You're the fucking schmo. But with all due respect, what happens when he's getting out-wrestled? What happens when he's facing a forward-facing wrestler? What happens when somebody is negating his wrestling and makes him strike? Well, I'll tell you. We saw it against Bilal Muhammad, who doesn't have any knockouts to his name other than one over Sean Brady. Sean Brady gets knocked out on Saturday night. Gilbert Burns does it. I think he does have that dog in him. I think realistically, he's going to have Sean Brady looking for his consciousness like, where are you? And I'm so sorry. My pick is going to be Burns tonight. I got to go with the dog here, brother. Got to do it.
Go with the dog.
Gotta do it. I'm going to sprinkle a little bit on Sean Brady. Don't get me wrong, because I do think that he does have a chance. I think he has a lot of skills that he brings to the table. Again, the forward-facing grappling, if he's able to initiate the grappling exchange with Burns and he's able to keep Burns on the back foot, Burns doesn't do super well on the back foot either. So it's literally going to be who dominates the dance, who initiates the dance first. Because I think whoever starts the dance and really like puts the other person on the back foot is going to continue with that momentum throughout the entirety of the fight. I don't know. I could be crazy there. I could be wrong there. I do think that this is a very close fight, as does 2,500 people that voted on it, with it being a 55-45 split on Tapology. And I mean, looking at the odds here, it's plus 154 for Burns, minus 185 for Sean Brady. So again, like, if anything here, and I haven't placed any bets on Burns yet, but if I do, I'm not looking at doing anything crazy. I'll probably do like a half unit on him. But that's that. Nano, do you have a dog in this race as far as betting goes, or are you going to stay away and avoid this and enjoy this one as a fan?
Man, I mean, this is the main event, right? As much as I want to kick back and just enjoy it as a fan, and I will no matter what, regardless of what I bet, because again, I'm gonna bet responsibly. I'm gonna be willing to bet whatever I'm willing to lose. Okay, something that's not gonna make me lose any sleep. As a homeowner, as a married man, you got to be responsible. But no, I mean, I got to look at the lines. I mean, to be honest, to your point, I think this is something I would hedge. I think this is something I'd look both ways. I think Gilbert is definitely a live dog at plus 155. However, maybe you look at it the other way and you think, you know what, Sean's just finally at that point in his career. He might be able to put him away. I mean, Jack Della Maddalena was able to put him away. He might be able to do the same thing or hurt him and then get him to the ground and choke him. Both ways, both paths to victory, like Sean Brady for a finish, might be a live bet as well. Got to sneeze.
God bless you. God bless you. Boom. There it is.
Oh, man. Try to keep that in. I apologize. Yes. So, again.
Better out than in.
Yeah, honestly. And this end than the other end, for sure. Yeah, but that would be where I would hedge it. I think Gilbert, probably by decision, or Gilbert to potentially win. Maybe you sprinkle something like half a unit, but then maybe you do go a full unit on a Sean Brady straight up. Or if you're going to divide and conquer, maybe it's half a unit or a quarter of a unit on something like a TKO and or submission, like just by finish. Again, this is a fun one. I definitely would sprinkle something, or maybe use underdogs. Maybe look at some of the significant strikes or takedowns, something that sounds juicy, but I feel like it'll be back and forth. I think Gilbert is extremely tough. So even if there were going to be a finish, something like JDM was able to do to Gilbert, that was in the third round, right? With a couple minutes left. So we're talking minute 12, 13. It's going to be a while. Sean's not going to get him out there in one punch, our boy Gilbert. He's too damn tough, too much of a beast, too much of a legend. And the same can be said for our boy Sean as well. I mean, it took Bilal a solid round or two to finally get him to that point. Which again, I mean, Gilbert is going to want to try to knock him down, but I do think Sean has enough of an IQ, has good enough of a camp, and it just has enough skills, frankly, to go out and I think just neutralize whatever game plan Gilbert's going to try and throw at him. All to say, though, I would definitely put some stuff on it. I think I would go Gilbert as my first bet just because as a fan, I want him to win, even something small. He's the underdog, so you're going to get good odds there. But then if Sean's going to win, I think it's most likely going to be a late round finish, maybe like a round 4 or 5 finish, or just straight up double whammy submission or TKO with Sean Brady would be what I'm looking at. But I like it, man. I'm excited. And this one's starting an hour earlier, so make sure y'all are tuned in. Prelims start at 1 p.m. Pacific time, 4 p.m. Pacific time. So apply that to your local zone and be ready to roll, baby. It's going to be a fun one.
Yes, sir. It is going to be a really good one. I actually like it better when they start a little bit early like this because it lets us, tune in and stuff a little bit of the nighttime to ourselves.
Don't need to stay up too late. Find the sleep when it's, not a lot of finishes and each fight goes, and now it's 10, 11 o'clock Pacific time. I can only imagine for you Central and East Coast folk.
Sheesh.
Or God forbid you're somewhere else on the planet Earth, and man, tough. They were in London a few weeks ago at 5 a.m. watching these. Anything happens. Or obviously you do what you got to do, but that, and we got football all weekend. We got football tonight. We had the Chiefs winning a tight victory over the Ravens. It's a game of inches, man. They won by a few blades of grass. The Ravens are not able to score a touchdown at the end there. Spoiler. I'm sorry for y'all listening. If maybe y'all were waiting to watch that after this, I apologize. Or maybe you're just tuning in and from that game. So glad to have you. But that was a fun one. Another game tomorrow, Friday night in Brazil. And then college football. A lot of fun stuff Saturday to keep you entertained until the main event here, or the prelims and main event Saturday. Then more football Sunday, Monday, baby. Let's go. Woo! Weekend 1, baby. It's time. It's our time.
Let's go. Let go, baby. Hey, les bon roulé, mon ami. You already know what it is here.
I'm about to make a name of myself here.
I'm about to make a name of myself out here, baby. You already know it's them Saints, baby. Les bon roulé. Let go.
Just make sure they know what happened here today.
Just make sure they know what happened here today. And if you make it out of here alive, just make sure you get yourself something to drink, baby. I do love the Raiders as well. That's always been my team. So you can literally, you can ask my family. I think I was probably like, I don't know, 3 or 4 years old. Went to a garage sale with my folks and saw a little like miniature hat with the original Raiders logo on it. It was a little keychain.
Oh, that's
and
sick.
I begged my dad to get it for me, apparently. And since I was like 2 or 3 years old, I had that little keychain and it was like a little mini hat. And I loved it. And I thought the logo was super cool. And I became a Raiders fan. Like to the point of when we have season tickets and we'd go see the Saints at the Superdome, we'd paint up black and gold. And then when we'd play the Raiders, the random one time every once in a blue moon, I'd paint up black and silver, baby.
Dogs bark in the backyard, baby.
And my dad would threaten to hang me over the rafters by my toes. But it's okay, because the Raiders would typically pull it the fuck off. Let's go.
That's
Dogs bark
right.
in the backyard. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, let's go.
Dogs bark where? In the backyard. Hey, they go.
They go.
Ooh. You already know, baby. You already know.
Yeah, Herb.
Speaking of which, we are going to be doing something new, kind of different, kind of controversial. I actually came up with this concept here a little bit, workshopping it around a couple of different concepts I've seen done. So here's the thing that we're going to be doing in the next week. Trying to coordinate times with people. As of right now, we are hoping to do this Thursday at 8:15 p.m. PST. Don't know if we'll be going live or not, or if we'll be recording this and then posting it live at a later date. Either way, here's the concept, folks. So, okay. Let's start from the beginning here. We are going to do a fantasy draft. Not fantasy football, though. Fantasy football is all the craze right now, and everybody loves a good fantasy football draft. But what we are going to do is we are going to do a remainder of 2024. Basically like an SOND 2024 fantasy UFC draft. So we are each going to pick a fighter from each weight class, as well as one wild card of our choice from any weight class. And then for the rest of the year, I am going to tally up their points, each fighter, on DraftKings, not DraftKings Sportsbooks, the DraftKings fantasy game. And whoever has the most points across all of their chosen fighters by the end of the year will win the pot of money that we put in. I'm thinking we'll probably put in a low amount of money for the first time, see how people like it, and then we'll keep on growing this bad boy. If you are interested in this, let us know in the chat below. We're more than happy to invite you to the live stream, more than happy to have you on film, and more than happy to, with all due respect, take your money. So let us know how you feel about that concept. Again, we're not even setting up the point system. DraftKings already does that for us, so there's no bias. It's your fighters against our fighters. No fighter can be selected twice. So if somebody picks John Jones is off the board. That's that. We will be doing it fantasy style. So once we have the entire list of people that are going to be in this, once we actually get on the video, like the live stream or the pre-tape stream, I am going to put these names into a name loader. I'm going to randomize it, and we're going to do it fantasy football style. So if Nano goes first and I go last, Nano goes last in round 2, and I go first in round 2. And so on and so forth. And just like in fantasy football, I don't care if you pick running backs first. I don't care if you pick quarterback first. I don't care if you pick heavyweight first, lightweight first. You pick whoever the fuck you want to pick. I think in total it ends up being 15 fighters. I think there's 14 total weight classes, including men and women's. So we have 15 fighters. A-Train wants in on it. Adrian Gonzalez, let's go, baby. So
you know the vibes.
We're looking to get it done. I'll send you a message on Instagram, but we are looking to jump on the live stream next Thursday or the pre-tape next Thursday. 8:15 p.m. Pacific Standard Time is the time that we're looking to start. Hoping to have everybody start piling into the lobby around 8 p.m. So that way we can make sure everybody is on time and we can get things rolling right away. So I think it's a fun concept. It'll give you even more reason to pay attention to these fights for the rest of the year. And then next year, if this goes well, we'll set one up for the entire year. And it'll be even more fun because there'll be a lot less fights announced come January, and we'll really have to fucking think about it. So
let's go.
That's that. I'll Obviously, a little bit too early for us to go over any fantasy football stuff. A little bit of a shorter episode this week, but make no mistake, folks, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, fight fans of all shapes and sizes, this card is not a low-key banger. It is a high-key banger, okay? It is a Vegas fight night for the fucking books, okay? So make sure you tune in. Make sure, as Nano so kindly pointed out, you tune in an hour early, because otherwise you'll be missing out on quite a few fights, at least 2 or 3 of them. And they are good fights that you don't want to miss out on here, folks. So tune into these fights on Saturday. Make sure that if you're new here, old here, returning, anywhere in between, do us a huge favor. Like, comment, subscribe, smash that bell for notifications. And after the live stream wraps up, leave an actual comment on the page other than just the live chat. We appreciate the live chat. Trust me, we fucking love it. It's the lifeblood of this show. But comments help with the algorithm, and the algorithm controls the fucking world. So all hell the algorithm, all that good stuff. Nobody make a gif of me like doing that with my head. That'd be weird. So that's it, guys. That's the show. We appreciate you all for being here. We appreciate you all for staying till the end of the show. And more than anything, we appreciate you for taking time out of your weeknight and spending it with little old us. So, as I said, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. But more than anything, above all else, the one thing we really hope you keep on doing on this show, the one thing we preach above all else, keep on going, keep on growing. Internally, externally, that bank account, everything in your life, folks. And we hope to see you next week.
You've been listening to the MMAnomaly Show. No filter. As you may have been able to tell, we dig the MMA, and our passion is to dive deep into the upcoming fights, give you our expert breakdowns, and help you make sense of all the chaos that is the fight game. We hope you've enjoyed the show. If you did, make sure to like, rate, and review. We'll be back soon, but in the meantime, make sure to find us on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch at MMAnomaly. Be cool, and we'll see you next time.